But now I don't see those cobbles and curbs. I don't hear the blues anymore.
Rough Trade is giving away a third of the first 3 months of the Rough Trade Club plus new music membership exclusively to 101 Part-Time Jobs listeners. Become a member of Rough Trade Club New Music and you'll receive the Rough Trade Album of the Month straight to your door every month on exclusive vinyl pressing with exclusive bonus material. Club members have received exclusive pressings of albums from Sufjan Stevens, Sprints, The Last Dinner Party, Julie Byrne and Over Mono, just to name a few, this past year alone. Sign up using the promo code CLUB101POD and you'll get the Rough Trade Album of the Month, English Teacher's excellent debut album, This Could Be Texas, on exclusive Galaxy Gold for a third of the usual price. Here's English Teacher on a recent episode of 101.
How many opportunities do you get to write a debut album and have all of this, sport behind us? I don't know, I really like the idea of holding the bar as being like classic songs.
You only get one shot at a debut.
Don't want the album of the month but still want all the benefits? Sign up to the standard tier using Club 101 Pod and you'll still get the first month free. You'll also get free shipping on all orders, 10% off the bar and on secondhand vinyl in store, and exclusive access to sold out Rough Trade events. So don't hang around. Go to roughtrade.com/club and sign up with the code CLUB101POD. That's CLUB101POD and claim money off the album of the month, English Teachers This Could Be Texas, today. This offer's available to UK residents only. Do you play in bands? I did for the longest time. And I wish that I knew that DistroKid was a thing. I don't even think it existed back then. DistroKid makes music distribution fun and easy with unlimited uploads, and artists keep 100% of your royalties and earnings. 1 million plus artists rely on DistroKid to get their music on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, TikTok, Tidal, Instagram, and all the major streaming services. When you get DistroKid, you can see a DistroKid bank and withdraw your earnings. You get notified when you've earned royalties and you can withdraw via the app. And you can even check your streaming stats on Spotify and Apple. Get 30% off your first year on DistroKid by going to distrokid.com/VIP/101pod. 30% off for your first year. That's not bad. We know it's a tough world out there. Why don't you make it easier for yourself? And to get 30% off that free year as an artist, where you get 100% of your royalties and earnings, go to distrokid.com/VIP/101pod. All right, stay with me. I'll be right back after this.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
I'm 100 hour part-time jobs. I'm 100 hour part-time jobs. I've been working Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Working Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 101. 101. All right, you're listening to 101 Part-Time Jobs with me, Giles Bidder, the podcast where I speak to bands about falling flat on your face 5 times before getting up, doing it again, and maybe getting it right, maybe releasing something that's good, having a tour that breaks even. And on today's episode, we've got Zach from FIDLAR. FIDLAR have been putting out some EPs, some singles over the last couple of years after a little break. That's Life is the EP that came out this year, followed by Don't Fuck With Volume 2. And they're coming to the UK on tour next month, starting in 9th of November in Bristol. Then where are they headed? Nottingham, Glasgow, London, Manchester, Birmingham and Leeds. Dune Rats from Australia are going to be supporting them there. If you want to get your tickets, you can. Those are going to be some fun party shows. I'm looking forward to it. Zach tells me in this episode about some UK memories and all kinds of stories from along their way. So cheers for joining. Thanks for listening. If you like this show, please subscribe, click that bell and get notified when future episodes come out. We've got episodes of Snail Mail, Metric, Baby Queen, Speed, and a live show with Bob Villan at Bush Hall on the 12th of December. So if you're looking for something to do close to Christmas time, you want to treat yourself, come to a live podcast recording with Bob Villan. Free drink as you arrive, supplied by Signature Brew. Tickets from the website, 101parttimejobs.com. Before we get into this episode, I'm going to speak with Rebecca from the band Eka, who is a brand ambassador for Ampolo, which is a free app. You can download it now. If you want to practice along with an existing song, you say you want to play bass to Rage Against the Machine, but you want to play along with it, you can take the bass out and practice along just like that. I think Rage Against the Machine is my Bomb Track was the first song I learned to play on bass. That first song you learn, it stays with you, doesn't it?
I remember mine, which was Just Like a Prayer on saxophone. But yeah, I mean, I used to play that for hours, like trying to get it right alongside the CD player.
You sat there trying to rewind, get it to the right point.
Playing along kind of with the vocal. It's great for kind of doing covers and just learning the songs, basically.
And that's on Ampolo. It's free. Anyone can download it now on the App Store. You can record yourself so you can see how you're looking when you play it. Make sure your tongue's not sticking out when you're trying to play some riffs. Happy practicing. All right, here's Zach from FIDLAR here on 101 Part-Time Jobs. 101 Part-Time Jobs. Are you the kind of person that will come home from tour and be like, okay, this is my schedule. I'm going to wake up and I'm going to write a tune and then go out and do my day. Are you that kind of guy?
It changes every time. It's unfortunately, I wish there was like some kind of formula, you know what I mean? But during the pandemic, it was like, I was like, okay, I'm going to learn how to use Ableton. And when you learn how to use a recording software, you end up writing a lot of songs. You know what I mean? And that kind of spawned the first song off the EP, Fuck Shit Up, FSU. And so it was just kind of like, it's always just like a kind of a new process for me, you know?
Have you got that kind of crew at home where like, I mean, I think a lot of people playing music might come home and like their friends and family are doing different stuff, you know, and it's a bit like playing music is a bit out there, you know what I mean? It's like removed from normal. And I had this myself, like for years. I'm like, fucking, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. Like so many jobs. Look, I think so many people grow up now and there's so many options of what you can do. You can travel the world, you can be this and that I think all those options make it harder to actually maybe think, okay, yeah, this is me. I write songs. This is what I'm going to try and do without having any of those kind of niggling kind of like, is this the right thing? kind of ways. And I don't want to be a bummer, but that's just fucking real life.
I mean, I go through that still, you know, like, and I make a living off of writing songs and playing live, you know? I mean, yeah, but like, luckily I live in Los Angeles where there's a lot of creative people. Right. You know, one of our friends is like, has bought a house off of ASMR. What? You know what I mean? Shit like this. So there's just like, there's so much like wildly talented creative people in Los Angeles. And not saying that there isn't anywhere else. It's just, it's more of like a writing songs and playing in a fucking punk band is kind of like normal out here.
No, I think that is fucking different. Like come to London and like most people playing in bands here, it is like you get looked up and down, and it's different. You go to the bank to get a loan, and it is, you know, I tried to get a mortgage once and it was fucked, and you know, it doesn't work. Like life doesn't like really work like that in a lot of ways. I mean, especially in sort of buttfuck small towns around England, you know, which I always thought was strange because we got the Kinks, we got the Beatles, we got the Rolling Stones. It's like such a celebrated, rock and roll is so celebrated in England. Yeah, you come here to tour and like.
Yeah, you guys still have the rock star.
Well, yeah, but then
you guys still have the rock star, man. It's crazy out there.
But then for touring bands, you won't get a hot meal. You know, the person behind the bar will probably be a jerk to you when you turn up. It's there is a tension there, or like a misleveling there.
It's like that here too, though. By the way, just letting you know, it's like that here. It's like that everywhere. Everywhere.
Well, not Europe, but you get the sort of the 3 triple bunk beds.
It's happened in Europe too, a couple times. Yeah, you know.
When did you start making a living off it? When was the first time you were like, yeah, this is it, all I'm doing?
It took a while. It actually took a while. Like, I was working as a recording engineer and was delivering pizzas, and it kind of took like maybe 3 years of like, you know, like we started the band in 2012, and around like 2014, 2015, it was like, oh, okay, we could kind of quit our jobs, you know? Mm-hmm. But mind you, like, we were living in a fucking house with like 7 people, you know, like our rent was super cheap. We still lived like really dirt poor, but we just toured. Like, it was just constantly on the road. And that was kind of our motto, because I write music to play shows.
Yeah, it's a live thing. It's a party. It's people.
It's a live thing. I do love being in the studio, and it's funny because each record is kind of up and down, where it's like when we were touring a bunch, like all the next record we did, we were just like, hey, let's just make a studio album. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it's kind of all just ebbs and flows, you know, and just it's always different.
When you were getting into Ableton, this time around, for That's Life, did you kind of get back into that? Like, did you enjoy engineering again and sort of relearning like new?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
straight
nope.
no.
Nope. No. I call it Disableton, because you're just there and you're just looking at that screen and it's like Tetris, and you're just like, fuck, this is just a day job. Yeah. This is a straight up desk job right now. Mm-hmm. And you're just moving fucking little blocks around, and like, I should just be making a spreadsheet would be more fucking mind like boggling for me. You know what I mean? So but you know what? It was fun. It was fun to learn. It's fun to learn all those kinds of stuff, you know? You really do start looking at, like, I started looking at music as left to right. You know what I mean? Like, you just see the thing go left to right. It's like, I just needed to get to the end. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then like we started songs, and then we started playing them in our rehearsal room and stuff like that. And then I was just like, okay, this is the metric right here. You know what I mean? This is the canvas, is live music. You know,
I mean, it sounds great. I often thought with FIDLAR, like, known you since around the sort of 2013 time, and you know, I've got to say, like, playing as like a rock and roll pop punk band, like, good on you for like sticking with those kinds of tunes, you know, because I wonder if there's that temptation to, I don't know, like, go in a different direction, or like try and make something new, you know, or try and like progress, whatever that means. Because that's the mistake. That's the mistake. The progression is the.
You know, there was a moment of thinking like that, and then there's like a fucking 2 paths you can go on. You know what I mean? Like, and you start learning fucking modes, and you know, you start listening to metal or like even like hardcore, and you're like, whoa, that's kind of complicated. How do they do that? And then there's just this other road that's just like, you know, it's like, well, you know, how do you make a song with 2 chords and 2 notes, you know, like, instead of 4? Like, so I went down the opposite of like kind of, yeah. And you know, honestly, like, man, there's no real roadmap for getting simpler. You know what I mean? Like, that's just kind of like, you have to guess.
I feel like it's challenging.
It's actually challenging.
Yeah, I feel like it's a Rick Rubinism to be like, you don't add things, you take them away.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's so hard. It's actually so hard to do. Like, a human nature wants to just add things, and you add things, and that in your brain says, well, there's more, so it's better. But it's like, it's not necessarily true, you know?
Another thing that I think is funny about FIDLAR, like, I mean, I don't know if you've talked about this or if anyone asks you about this, but as a party band, not crashing and burning after a few years, that's a very respectable way of living.
It was a little bit of a crash, but you just have to readjust. Like, I had to go to rehab, I had to get sober, and then I fell off the wagon again, and now I'm back to being sober. Like, it's just this kind of like up and down kind of roller coaster ride. But I think, it's really like, I mean, I just don't know anything else to do. So this is kind of, it's weird how like, there's so much temptation on the road, and there's so much partying, and especially in the UK. The UK is like one of the only places in the world that people get upset at you for not doing cocaine with them. Like, they actually get upset. Like, I've had people like get mad at me after they like try to like feed me a bump of cocaine, and I'm just like, no, I'm good, dude. I don't fucking know what that is. Like, I'm good.
That's obviously really fucked up that there's a position that you're disappointing them by not.
Yeah, and then there's the people that do that, but then there's also like this thing that happens when you're on the road that's like, for me, what's happening right now, it kind of is keeping me healthy. Because in order for me to do an hour and a half set, I have to be in pretty good shape. And to play 4 shows in a row, and just like get like 4 hours of sleep each night, and like you kind of have to be like, it's kind of a marathon,
big time.
So in a weird way, it helps me. It keeps me grounded and in shape. I've
been off the beers mostly like for the last few months. I mean, I had a couple of, I had a stag do on Saturday, and I'm paying for that now. But he's a best friend, stag do, gotta have fun. And like I thought a lot about like the work that I do here, the sort of like freelance stuff, and trying to have fun with that. I've been enjoying it more like sober. It's hard to say something like this without like sounding like you're trying to, influence, you know what I mean, or convince someone.
Yeah.
But I think there is something to be said for like feeling healthy, feeling sober, and feeling fucking high on that. I think there is something in that.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, my journey with that has been so roller coastery, but recently it's been, it's kind of like a weird challenge where I'm just like, oh, like I've already like kind of done every drug, and gotten fucked up for a very long time. I'm trying to just like see how to enjoy life without doing all that shit. You know what I mean? And you you kind of have to supplement it with different things, like, so I like read a book about like runner's highs, I'm like, okay, so if you like hit 6 miles or 6.5 miles, it's equal to like a fucking little dose of morphine. I'm like, all right, let's do this. I'm going hard. 6 miles.
So you've been doing it. You've been
12, running. Yeah, running, and just like the normal.
Yeah.
Meditation's been crazy too. Journaling, like all this like weird, stupid shit. The stupid shit that everybody was telling me is like, oh, that's gonna help. Oh, that's gonna help. And then you just do it. But then like you have to kind of be consistent, which is the hardest part, is the consistency, And it's slowly but surely been helping. I don't want to jinx it, but yeah.
When you were that kind of age, like leaving school, like 18, 19, 20, and like playing shows and being involved in music, was that always going to be the number one, do you think? Like looking back, was there ever going to be like something else that was like, nah, but try something else? I mean, I guess my question here is that.
Yeah, I feel like I just kind of was like, this is what I like to do, and I'm getting better at it. So I'm just going to keep doing this forever because I love to do this. Like it's kind of like, I don't know if I had that thing of like, I want to be in a band per se, like growing up, I loved writing songs. I loved figuring out songs. I also loved, when I moved to LA, I wanted to be a music producer. And that's kind of how we started, is like, we met in like a recording studio kind of thing. And as the band started picking up steam, it's just like, it's kind of more of just like, this is kind of who I am. And I do other things to help me do this, I guess. Right. You know, whether it's like painting or exercising or anything like this, that is all just there to help me like play shows.
Yeah. And write
songs and play shows.
I mean, we talked about it earlier, but it's like punk rock is made for live, right? I mean, and I wonder, after working at a studio, was it fun to not like try and go deep on like some prog rock?
No, 100%. But that's the thing, is like, I grew up in Hawaii and there was no punk rock. I mean, there was like a punk scene and I would go to shows, but there wasn't like I heard of like No Effects and all that shit through surf and skate videos and stuff like that. But there wasn't like this sense of like, oh, there's this world of punk rock. Like, to me, it was just all music and it was all just like playing shows. In Hawaii, you had the shows were like a folk band playing with a reggae band, playing with a hardcore band, playing with it's all just like this mix match of shit. And we were all very supportive of each other, like, you know, just being around each other. It's just like it's like having a party, you know what I mean? Instead of like, here's a show. I feel like on the mainland, there's like hierarchies, you know what I mean? Like, especially in like the punk and the hardcore world. And it's just like, there's these like pecking orders, but we didn't really have that in Hawaii. So when I came out here, it was just like, I like to play loud, fast, obnoxious music. And I like to do that a lot.
Yeah. I think there's something special about those mixed bills where it's like a metal band and then a ska band. Yeah. Because it doesn't breed this kind of sniffiness towards it, you know. And I think like what comes out of that is breeding, you know, like you and like, I grew up in a small town that was a lot like that, and it was like, cool, well, like, I could do anything. There are no fucking rules. That I could just do anything, whatever. And that's a fun way to live. And I think that's going to come across on records. So I think that comes across in FIDLAR.
Yeah, I think so. I think the thing too with FIDLAR is that like, it is very simple music and the lyrics are very simple. The melody is very simple. But I keep saying this, like, Max and Brandon are insanely talented. Yeah. Like, Max is like a fucking metronome. Like, anybody that when he plays with other people, they're just like, what the fuck? Yeah. Like, he's so good at his instrument. And same with Brandon. Brandon's great at ideas and even as a bass player, he's just such a unique situation. So it's this like weird combination of just like it's also just like letting it happen. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of like, you know, that's kind of like the superpower of FIDLAR. It's just like, all right, here's a bunch of songs. How are we going to make this go off live? And let's keep the mistakes. You know what I mean?
It's Kaylee Cuoco for Priceline. Ready to go to your happy place for a happy price? Well, why didn't you say so? Just download the Priceline app right now and save up to 60% on hotels. So whether it's Cousin Kevin's Kazoo Concert in Kansas City, go Kevin, or Becky's Bachelorette Bash in Bermuda, you never have to miss a trip ever again. So download the Priceline app today. Your savings are waiting.
Go to your happy place for a happy price. Go to your happy price, Priceline.
I think that's the hardest part about being in a band is just being around each other and just doing it forever. And figuring out how to communicate is the number one thing. It's just like with any relationship, even a friendship, you know what I mean? I feel like nowadays when somebody pisses you off, you just kind of have the ability to be like, okay, I don't have to hang out with that person anymore. But when you're in a band together, you have to hang out with that person, you know? And so you figure out how to forgive people. You figure out how to confront people. You figure out all that shit. It's kind of, these dudes have been the longest friendships I've ever had, longer than my relationship, you know, like longer than everything almost, you know? And that is, I feel like one of the biggest downfalls in a lot of bands is they don't figure out how to do that, or they build resentments and they just let it fester, you know? And you just realize you can't really control any of those situations, and you can only do what you can do as yourself and say your piece. You know what I mean?
Right. I think, and there's no, I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but there's no track, right? There's no like paving whether you follow, like a direction you follow. No. Maybe you have a set of rules in the early years of the band that you stick to, but it's always fucking figuring it out as it goes along, right?
It's always figuring out. People make commitments, people change their minds, people grow into different things, you know, like our guitar player, dude, you know, Elvis, that he was like, I don't want to go on tour anymore, you know? And I'm just like, I get it. It's a very fucking tough thing to do. And it sucks. And he's been doing it since he graduated high school and was just in a van with FIDLAR. You know what I mean? Like, and he wants to do a different chapter in his life. And the three of us were like, we support you, dude. Like, go for it, you know? Yeah. And he understood that we wanted to keep doing it. And he was like, yeah, go for it. Like, it's just hear your friends out here, especially if you're doing something creative, you know, like together, whether it's a business or anything like that, you need to communicate that. Or you don't. I don't know. Maybe you don't.
Often the people that I've like gone on the sesh with and the people that I've partied with the most, sometimes that doesn't create that environment to talk. You know, it's kind of easy not to talk. Yeah. That happens. I mean, do you feel like you've been, I often think like hip hop, in hip hop, there's always been people who are like, yeah, like I own the rights to my recordings. I build my world, you know, and I'm protective of that world. I feel like in rock music or punk rock, there is more of a temptation to be like, yeah, we'll sign to a label and maybe not own the rights to our recordings and kind of go that route because, you know, it's early years and you think, yeah, this is an opportunity that might not ever come again. What's that been like for FIDLAR? Have you been able to kind of stay smart, you know, alongside the having fun?
I'm a big believer of owning your shit. You know, I think that's the thing why like hip hop and electronic artists and DJs, they kind of have paved the way for that. You know what I mean? Like, I think when you're a young punk band, you have zero money. And like, you know, we signed a record deal to independent label just to get a check to pay for a band. That's like literally like we took the check that they gave us to the fucking like auto dealership and signed off the check for just like a 15 passenger van to be able to tour because we needed to do that right now. And then, you know, that label ends up making a lot more money than they give you. But that's what we had to do to get to that place. So even though I say like, you know, we still own our music, you know, but even though it's like, you still have to make decisions. You can't get to somewhere without even taking the first step. And if the first step means that you need fucking like 20 grand to invest into something, to go do something, then I mean, you just got to do it. You got to bite the bullet.
Yeah. And
somebody explained this to me the best way about record labels and all this shit is that you could either complain now or complain later.
I feel like a lot of people
sign to
I feel like a lot of people do the latter, because at the time you're like, fucking 20K is a lot of money.
Yeah. So like if you sign to a major label, they give you a fucking $500,000, but then they own your music.
Yeah.
And that means for the rest of your life, you're not going to get anything for it. But you got a big chunk of change up front. So you're stoked, you're coasting. But in 10 years, you're going to be like, fuck, I wish I owned that, because that probably could buy me a house right now, you know? So it's crazy how much money is dude, it's crazy how much money is in the music industry right now. It's insane. Like, and then there's tech, and it's fucking list goes on. But yes, our friends are not fucking raking it in right now.
How do you feel about that? Does that make you want to fucking scheme and figure out how to get to that money?
I kind of thought that for a little bit, but then I started realizing that I'm kind of not in the music industry. I'm kind of like in just like the FIDLAR industry. That's what I call it.
Build your world.
Yeah, I'm the amount of like, you know, streams or whatever, like none of that, like it's just an ad. Like it's straight up just an ad for kids to come to our show, and like we get paid for playing shows, and then we get paid for making merch, you know? And to be honest, it's not that much money to be honest, but it's a living, and it's an honest living. So, but I know that, and I've seen it work, is that you just got to be consistent, and you just got to keep doing it. And there's no, like, I've been seeing this happen a lot right now, especially with like this kind of resurgent of like bands, you know, that all these kids and new artists are trying to figure out the formula for, if I get this booking agent and if I'm signed to this label with this lawyer, you know, then that means I'm set to blow up. And it's like, well, there really isn't any formula, you know? And I kind of look at the people that are like outside. The goal for me is to be outside of the music industry and not rely on them. So I don't need to worry about like taking somebody to dinner to like get on a playlist. You know what I mean? Like I don't, you know, and then the people like, the new one is like King Gizzard, you know, even like the ICP, Insane Clown Posse. Like it's just those kinds of worlds are just like so inspiring to me, where they're just like its own entity.
Yo,
you know?
Big time. Have you ever thought about going to the Juggalo Fest?
Dude, I'm scared.
You wouldn't go?
I'm scared. I would totally go. Oh my God.
You're able to.
I want an invite so bad.
You're closer than me. You got no excuse.
I do. I don't have an excuse. I should go.
FIDLAR could be on the lineup. There's no reason why not. Like, I think they'd get it. I
mean, I would love that.
You've seen that Workaholics episode where they go?
Yeah, so good. It's like, this is like the best time to do it, because it used to be like there was bands on a roster that would break through the radio and go through the cycle of radio. And in order to get there, you got to be extremely lucky. There's a lot of luck factor in it. But right now, you can create the terms of what you are as an artist. Meaning, if you don't want to be on TikTok, if you don't want to be on Instagram, if you don't want to do social media, go play shows then. You know, you can do that. And if you don't want to play venues, go play fucking like coffee houses, go play art galleries. You really can just, or if you have stage fright and you don't want to play shows, you can be a fucking Twitch artist. You can be a fucking streaming artist. Like, look how many of these like, you know, faceless artists there are now, you know, like the people that like don't show their faces. There's fucking AI artists. Like there's so much shit going around, so much art, like creative artistry in that world going around that you can create your own terms, you know?
Yeah, those traditions are antiquated. You don't need to live by those traditions anymore to reach people and to get across your ideas and communicate.
100%.
Hey, this is good stuff, Zach. Thanks so much for being up for it. I hope it's been all right.
I like it. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Just to end with, you know, I like to hear people's kind of work fail stories. I've always been one to smash stuff while working behind the bar and, you know, just kind of generally not listen to what my boss is asking me to do and doing it wrong. And one time I was helping someone like build their driveway, and I was like, yeah, I can use that massive fucking saw that I've never used before. I'm great at it. I can do that. And I, like, you know, wasted a lot of money, upset a couple of people, and that's just me. I've come to accept that is the way I do things at different jobs. I wonder, have you got any memories, got any stories, scenarios where you've fucked up in the workplace?
I got one. I was producing this band. Some reason I decided to update my computer and it just reformatted the hard drive and it just crashed. Everything just crashed. Like I took my hard drive to the fucking data recovery place and they're just like, it's like, we can like kind of like get maybe like 50% of it back, you know, 60%, but it's all just kind of raw data, you know, like, and I worked so hard on this fucking thing, dude. I was like, I fucking remixed every song I recorded. Like it was just this whole thing. And then I had to tell them. I was just like, fuck, I lost the record. I'm so sorry. You know, like, I don't know what to do. It was brutal. And then we just redid it. And in a weird way, it's kind of like the editor thing where we redid it. And it's just like we just took out the parts that were just like getting in the way. And was just like, all right, we'll just have to redo it. That's what you have to do. You know? So, yeah, it was brutal. It fucked me up. It blow to the confidence, you know?
Have you ever had like dense kind of not easy times in the studio as FIDLAR? Have you had those kinds of things where it's like not working just for whatever reason?
Yeah. And then I tell myself it doesn't matter. I'm not going to listen to it anyways. That's literally the thought process goes in my head. It's like, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to do it and it's going to be done and it's going to come out and I'm never going to listen to this song again because I don't listen to my own music. So I don't know. This might speak to somebody else. You'd have no idea how that has helped me put out as much music as I put out because I just go, I'll hear back a mix and just be like, this isn't really hitting it for me, but this has to come out like next week. So fuck it. This is done. Let's do the next thing.
That's mad.
And it's just, you just go.
That's mad. Is it? Keep that pipe running, right?
Yeah. Can't stop.
And those songs, I guess they kind of changed live because you start playing them a little bit differently.
Always change live. They always change live. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the magic of it. Because that to me is like, that's the thing that matters the most. Mm-hmm. Is not the recording. The recording is like whatever to me. The recording is just like, and that's the crazy part is I'm actually really good at the recording side of it. Like I'm a really good producer and engineer. Like I know how to do all that shit. But when it comes to my own art, I'm not the consumer. I'm not the person receiving it. I'm the person giving it out. So let somebody else like make their own interpretation of what it is. It's just my fucking self like telling myself like, oh shit, my voice sounds like super lame right there. I should change that. I'm like, fuck that. Like whatever. It sounds lame. That's who I am.
Hey, it's a great way to kind of get rid of worries and anxieties, right?
Well, it's very
Works.
FIDLAR. Like, it's like that. The saying "fuck it, dog, life's a risk" was like something that we really embody in every part. You know what I mean? Like, even with like live, like, it's just like we are very strict on like, okay, we have a guitar amp, bass amp, drums, vocals, and with my pedals, I'm just like, I use 3 pedals. That's it.
Yeah.
If you can't do it in 3, you're doing it wrong. Like, everything is just fucking super like condensed or like stripped away.
Yeah.
And just go for it.
Hell yeah. You looking forward to coming back to the UK?
Yeah. I fucking love the UK. I used to live there for like a year or something like that in London. And
Whereabouts?
I miss it.
Where in London?
Bethnal Green.
Yeah, it's a fun place to live, and especially back then. I mean, I don't know exactly where, but it's always been a little bit hairy.
Yeah, it's sick. I remember going to this place called Runcorn too, and I was just like, whoa, this is fucking England, dude. This is like, Runcorn's like outside of Liverpool, and it was the most like English place I've ever been to. I was like, yeah, this is, I just love how different it is there, and I love how I love the fans, man. You guys love music, and we've just it was kind of like our first place. England was kind of our first place where we broke. You know what I mean? Like, and it's always been well received.
I wonder why that is. I'm trying to work out where I read about you, but it would have been.
It was the Enemy,
right?
It was the Enemy magazine. Just really kind of like grabbed onto us, and we played Reading and Leeds a bunch, and we had a crazy shows at these like small little places, and it was just kind of at that weird time of like, I think there was like a lot of the garage rock revival, and
do you remember a band Male Bonding?
I remember Male Bonding. It's funny. I have been listening to a lot of the bands that we were like toured with, and one that always pops up is Palma Violets.
Yeah,
I fucking love that band, Palma Violets. I think that's the kind of weird thing is like, I always looked at it as like, there's such a big like art kind of scene, like art punk scene in England, but we were kind of like not that. We were just kind of like indie Blink-182.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think it really resonated with kids because they're just like, I want to like hear songs about drinking cheap beer and fucking smoking weed and skating, And
Hey, Zach, thanks so much. I appreciate the time. Cheers, man.
Awesome, dude. Thanks for having me.
All right, there he was, Zach of FIDLAR. They're on tour in the UK. Starts on the 9th of November. Go and catch them live. Yeah, gonna be a good time. Cheers for listening. Click subscribe if you wanna. Leave a review if you really wanna. And I'll see you next week with episodes with Snail Mail, Emily Haynes from Metric, Baby Queen, and loads more to come. 2 episodes every week on 101 Part-Time Jobs. Tune in. See you later.
The secret's oat for nourishing your sensitive skin. Start each day with Aveeno's Daily Moisturizing Body Wash in the shower, which gently cleanses and doesn't dry out your skin. Then slather on the Daily Moisturizing Body Lotion for 24 hours of clinically proven hydration. This powerful combo gives you 2 times the moisture in 2 easy steps, thanks to both nourishing oat formulas. Get softer, smoother skin and shop Aveeno now at Target.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you want to get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather, now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
VGW Group. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.